Welcome to Inside Whitebox. Here we are back in the Whitebox workshop, and we've got this electric Fiat Scudo from What's Up Electrical. 6 years ago, we originally fitted their racking into a Renault Traffic. So they're back with these Scudos, and we've got to refit the racking. Now there's a couple of obviously differences because it's a different van. We've got a new floor going in on the bottom. That's already come pre-laser cut. We're going to be putting in the underfloor drawers, and then we're going to be custom making an upper deck. So that's going to be going in too, and then there's going to be some racking going on top. So it's time for us to get on the install and see what we can do with this van. The advantage of these Sortomo floors is they fit in using the floor cups, and we've now marked out and put these T-nuts in to take the lower drawers. Now, this being an electric vehicle, there's lots of high voltage batteries underneath the floor. So there's a kind of no drill policy for all of these vehicles, because if you drill through that and straight into the battery, you're in big trouble. You'll see on the bottom of this floor as well, you've got these wooden spaces. Now, the bottom of the van floor is all undulating. There's various different fixing points. So these little bits of wood around the edge make sure that the floor sits really nicely. So when you walk on it or when you fit in your racking, it's not going to be moving around. So let's grab Richard, get this floor in the van. Ready? So the floor's in, it's nicely fitted down now, and as we said earlier, you know, with the no drill policy on these, we haven't made a mess of the pan of the van. There's a few things to bear in mind when we're fitting these floors. So if you do purchase a Sortomo floor and you want to self-fit, they come really well packed, and sometimes there gets a bit of tape on this seam line on the tongue and groove joint, so it makes sure that that's really clear. Have seen on occasion where the courier has been a bit heavy-handed, a little bit of damage to that, so it's always worth checking that's completely intact. Sometimes we've had to take a file to it because actually you want that joint to squash up really nicely. Little tap with a hammer at the end, board it all together, and then you've got the joining tabs in the middle, and that makes that seam really tidy. There's no lip there like you get on a standard ply floor. The other thing to bear in mind is with these floor cups, they send some washers down. It's always worth pushing down hard on the floor and checking the gap between the cup and the bottom of the floor and packing it out with washers, because if you don't, when you start tightening this down, you're going to really stress the floor. You could potentially crack it. And then a final check round just to make sure it's all nice and tight in there. For us, it's not just staying with the floor, we're putting racking on here. So this forms the basis of everything. If this isn't right, everything else is going to be loose on top. So now we've done that, we are going to get the lower drawers in, and then we can start looking at the upper deck. So we had to lay this floor in first, and we then had to lay everything on top and mark the holes. So in terms of these holes here, they're not pre-drilled, we've put them in the right place. Luckily the van's of similar size, so obviously there's some slight differences, but this is kind of like the next generation version of this van. So there's subtle differences which mean it wouldn't fit exactly. So we can't use the old floor because the wheel arches are different. But in terms of the fit of the racking, it goes where we put it and where we mark it out. The floor came without any of these holes in it. We've laid this on top. We've worked out where it best fits. We've marked it, we've taken the floor out, we've drilled it and put our T-nuts in from underneath. These came out of the previous van, so this is going into a third van now. So the van that we did before had 4 drawer carcasses in it. This has got 2 carcasses and 2 frames. Actually, one of the things that we've got to do here, yeah, no worries. We've bolted this side of the framework in, but you'll see these legs are still loose. Because there's no joiner in between these, they were kind of folding in a bit. So what we're going to do, we've got these bolted in there really nice and tight, and actually we're just going to push these out. We were trying to do it before, but everything was moving around, and then we can just put a couple of screws in here, because actually the main strength of the structure of the drawer is already in there, so it's not going to matter too much that we're just going to put a couple of screws. So I need to find a few screws that are not going to go too deep into the floor. we can use those, but we're going to need some washers.
The organised tradesman knows where his stuff is.
Well, he doesn't, he's just gone the wrong one, but yeah, we should do. Maybe they'll work. Look at that, a duff screw. That's got no tail end to it. What? I'm going to take that back for a credit. Can I have a credit on my duff screw? It's got no end to it. Yes, sir, that would be 0.00000 of a pence. That's what my nan used to do when she was alive. She would drive to a garden centre 10 miles away to save 10p on a flower. Mind you, back then fuel was so cheap. Once we've got those underfloor drawers in, that is creating a framework underneath, and then we've got the false floor to go on top, which we've already partially cut, so we templated it off the other van. You know, it takes a lot of time to get it right, so when we did the first van, we took the floor out, we drew around it, we already had partial template. I haven't quite cut around the wheel arches yet, I've left that, but technically the front part of the floor should just drop straight in. Obviously that's going to save time today, not having to go through all the measurements again. So yeah, once we've got these in, we can give that a go. You got those two started, Richard?
Yeah.
So if you notice on the Andy Cam one, obviously we were fitting Van Volt sliders, which are like this, they're fully enclosed. The new Sortomo drawers don't have a top to them. They're literally a framework now. So they don't have this bit in the middle, which one makes them lighter, but two, it means that actually you can just bolt down inside. You obviously have to lay a floor over the top of them because otherwise you've got an open top. So they can't be used in isolation on their own. They do a wooden top for them. So if you didn't want to make a whole floor, you can buy the tops that go on top of them. But obviously these older drawers, they were fully enclosed. And that's why you got brackets on the outside so you can get to them. Because otherwise you're climbing inside the van. Inside the drawer. Now we've got to get the upper deck in. So this has to go in that way. So yeah, this floor here was obviously copied template from the other van. So there might be some very slight differences, but actually that's fine. We can cut around this and make it fit. So I think we've got a little bit of a widening to do there. Yeah. Are you really tight up against the seal on that side, Richard?
Yeah.
You've got a bit of. Let me go and have a. So I'm just gonna. Go in. We're to you.
Got it.
And we're going to see if our cuts are right. Look at that, first time when we're in. First time.
60% of the time, it works
every time. So we've got the floor in now. As you can see, we had the in and out a few times, just making sure we got the curvature right around the wheel arches. Now I know there's probably many watching that feel that they could do a better job than we've done in there. So actually, I invite you any comments to make this easier. Is there any carpenters out there who looked at that and thought, guys, what are you doing? You know, you could have done that in one cut. Please do comment, because we're really interested to know. You know, this is a community where we can share ideas together, not just for us, but there'll be other people watching this that are doing a self-build, and they could learn a lot from this too. So what we're doing now, we're actually just using this as a line to measure up so we can find our screw holes going up here. Now with these carcasses, these drawers, as we showed you earlier, it's a complete solid top. Now with the newer drawers that we have, we've only got a line which is probably 20 or 30 mil across. So we've got to be quite accurate with putting those in. We can actually afford to come in a little bit more with this one because we're not worrying about a line going all the way up. What we do want to make sure is that all those screws are in line as you look in the back of the van, because for me, there's nothing worse than looking in that and seeing screws all over the place. It just looks to me, looks awful, and it doesn't look very professional. Again, I'd be really interested to know, has anyone done a raised floor themselves? Have they found a good way of doing it, of fixing the floor? Or have you really struggled? You know, please do comment in there, because I know there's going to be people that have done this and thought, God, why didn't I do it that way? Or God, why aren't they doing it this way? So we're going to get on, we're going to mark these holes, and we're going to get this secured down nice and tight, and then we're going to be putting the racking on top, make that nice and secure so it can last another 6 years. This drawer, it's just dropped a screw out of here, which meant that the rail kept coming out. So what I'm going to do, I'll just put it all back together again. I can't find the original screw, just got a rivet to go in there. Fingers crossed we can use that. There we go, got a nice little neat rivet in there. Now it's the moment of truth, see if this works. So now we've riveted that frame back on. Voila, one drawer done. Oh, hang on. Just follow that line of hexes up there. Okay. You know what that means, Richard? We've got 21 seconds to go.
Hey?
But look, that bracket there, you know, that's lasted 6 years. It's done all right. Got a slight crack in it there. But other than that, yeah, it's done a good job. Basically, it's a straight transfer, old drawers, old racking. Obviously, we've had to have a new lower floor. We've had to custom cut the upper floor because it's a different van. I mean, if it was exactly the same van they were going into, we wouldn't have had to have had any new floors. We could have just been in and out. And then the only other mod we've had to make is the racking on the other side has got the handles on the top. This van is either slightly lower or this floor's slightly higher. So we've had to take those off in order to get it in. But other than that, yeah, we're going straight in. That's why I was never a singer, mate, you know.
I mean, it's a credit that you still try. That's good.
Family business, yeah, it's all family here, isn't it? You got, yeah, dad, son and granddad.
Shut up. You got him going.
Do I remember, like, we're putting all this in here and bolting this in properly, but I remember my first van when I was out as a mobile mechanic, and I got some rapid racking, which is the stuff that you normally put in your garage, and it kind of slides together like Dexian. Put it all in the van, and I used screws just to hold it to the wall. And I loaded it all up, and it lasted a few months until one day I went around the corner and I heard a and if anyone's ever had that happen in their van, they know that there's just screws everywhere. You open up the door and everything falls out and you feel like crying. And I can't remember where I was, but if anyone was nearby, they would have heard lots of blue words. And that's kind of like why I decided to do it properly next time. you know, and being out on the road, I know how important it is to have a really good, well-organised van. So, yeah, since then, everything's been done properly. Not always in the best way, you know, it's been an evolution, but certainly now, and I know for many people that have decent racking, like these guys at What's Up Electrical, they just wouldn't go back to anything else. So just after 6 hours, this van is finished. We've put in the Sortomo floor, we've fitted the drawers to here and to the sides, and we've custom cut the upper deck. Now the last van, this is the second of 2 vans that we've done. The last one we did a quick template of the upper deck, so that's saved us about 2 hours work today. We still did a little bit of fettling to make sure it was right. I didn't want to go exactly off the other floor, so we were in and out about 4 or 5 times with the back of the floor. The front end seemed to go in magically. So let's just quickly go through what we've done here. Like we said, we've got the lower floor and we've got these drawers now on their second tour of duty, 6 years old. So there's 2 of those. We've got a nice space running all the way down the center for long conduit, other bits like that. And also up here, there's a components tray, which is approximately 1 meter long, where you can get other components in there. Now the customers come along just to save some weight and space today. We haven't got all the drawers that go in here, but there'll be 4 drawers going in here, and there'll be some cases in there, so that's why we've got some gaps. And also the same on this side, you're going to have loads of the S-box, which is the little parts bins that we do, so all the little odds and sods can go in there. We've got some space underneath here, and we've still got space in the middle. You can see we've also fitted the van vault. Seems to be essential these days. So many vans are getting broken into that actually you really want somewhere where you can keep your expensive tools. I was only talking to the customer earlier on. We're not going to stop people breaking into vans, but we can slow them down. You know, they're going to have to make a lot of noise to get in there. So hopefully someone that's a bit opportunist opens a van, they see that's locked, they're going to go away. At worst, you're going to end up replacing the door on the van, which is hopefully covered by the insurance. Let's just whip round the side. So you can see, starting down here, we've got a drawer here, and then we've got a gap here for tool bags, also for in here. So this is really useful for jumping out the van. You can get all your service tools, stuff like that, because what you don't want to be doing is in and out the van all the time. So again, there's going to be some boxes that go in here. So I would suggest on this side of the van normally is your most used stuff, your service bags, your most used tools, so that you're out the van, you're here, you grab, you're onto a job. You're not rooting around on your hands and knees in the back of the van. And then we'll go all the way around. Just to show you, same on this side, we've got another drawer there, we've got a bit of a space there, we've got the van vault above. There's still a little bit of space. I mean, actually in a relatively small van, there's quite a lot of kit going in here, so it gives them loads of room for everything that they need to fit in the van. Okay, so that's it, everything's fitted. We're ready to send this off van to the customer to join the other one that we finished a few weeks ago. So hopefully What's Up Electrical, they will be out in a town near you, especially if you live in the London area. So if you've got any questions about this van, about the layout, or if you're fitting your own racking and you want some advice, please do leave something in the comments and I'll be happy to come back to you and offer that advice. If you've seen something here that you think we could do better, then please do leave a comment. Let the rest of the community know. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, because we're doing lots more of these videos and we really want your input to see what you like. So keep watching and we'll see you again on the next video.